Welcome to Seattle Maritime Works. Hi, I'm Ken Saunderson with the Seattle Propeller Club, and with me today is Benton Strong, who's the Director of Public Affairs at Vigor. Thanks for joining us today, Benton.
Thanks for having me, Ken. Good to be here.
Hey, Ben, why don't we start off by having you share a little bit about Vigor and what it's all about?
Yeah, great. Vigor is what we call a diversified industrial business. So our main business is we specialize in ship repair, but we also have a marine and heavy complex fabrication division that's mostly down in the Portland region. But here in Seattle at Harbor Island, where I'm sitting right now, we're sort of your local Navy and Washington State Ferry ship repair company. We're a values-based company. We're driven by our values every day of truth, responsibility, evolution, and love. These are why we're a successful company. We believe that firmly, but they're also why we're one of the safest shipyards in our entire sector. And we believe particularly that that love value drives the community that you need to ensure that is the case at our shipyard. We believe our employees deserve a fair wage for a day's work, and nearly 600 of them, sometimes less, sometimes more, receive a family wage supporting our local economy and two of our most important maritime partners here in the region. And as I mentioned, we're also a fabrication company. We invested in infrastructure, the energy sector, and small boat construction. We're really a steel fabrication company. And so those combination of those skill sets lead us to be a really strong company up and down the Pacific Northwest and Alaska.
And the shipyard has had a long and distinguished place on Seattle's waterfront. Talk a little bit about the history of Vigor and where it came from.
Yeah, well, let's start with the shipyard, right? So Todd Shipyards here, it's a 100-year-old facility, a little bit more than that here on Harbor Island. Most people know that it is for Navy shipbuilding at one point, dating back to World War II, but the yard goes back to the 19 teens, and actually there was work here dating back to the 1800s. Probably people who are local to Seattle today know about half of the Washington State Ferries fleet was built here at Todd Shipyards in Seattle, and we continue to be one of the leading repair entities for that work. Vigor itself was founded in the 90s in Portland and initially in the Portland Swan Island area. And then we now have that facility, this one and one in Ketchikan, Alaska. But this shipyard here in Seattle is to me as a Seattle resident and Seattle native, one of the coolest places right here in the heart of one of the largest man-made islands in the whole world. And we do some really critical work here at this yard.
Just a terrific history, but I think your future is even brighter. Share a little bit about the uniqueness of the yard and the types of work that's currently taking place on Harbor Island.
Yeah, probably what's most interesting is that we do a lot of the same work today that this yard has been involved in for decades, right? So currently behind me, we have two Navy vessels and two Washington State Ferries vessels going through various types of repair. We're one of the largest Navy ship repair companies in the country. With the work happening or with the situation in the Pacific growing right now, the reliance on getting those vessels back into service quickly and efficiently is critical, and we are proud to be part of that system, supporting our national defense and also supporting the jobs that come along with that work here. But also, again, if you're local to here, you really care about the Washington State Ferry system, and we're trying to make sure that that system can be maintained as effectively as and efficiently as possible as we try to move in the future. That said, I think one of the coolest projects we're doing right now is the first hybridization project for the MV Wenatchee, which started off here in the fall, which will turn that vessel from a fully diesel vessel to a hybrid electric vessel and be one of the first ones of several coming into the fleet, both new and current parts of the fleet. And it will help not only move that vessel and preserve it for the future, but also make that transition to a cleaner energy that will support, addressing climate change here in the region. And I will add on to that, I think one of the most important things that's happening here at our shipyard is we're a big believer in both protecting and coexisting with the surrounding environment of our facility. And as part of that, we actually just completed a significant project in the southwestern part of the yard. Part of the yard we really didn't use that much, but dating back to World War II, had thousands of creosote-soaked pylons that were there unused, as well as the old buildways. We ripped all of that out. We dredged near that area. We used that material to build a berm, and we've just completed late last summer a beautiful salmon habitat, a resting place right at the mouth of the Duwamish River. We know how important that is. We know how important it is for us to be part of the local environment, and we hope that that can be part of the solution for generations to come.
Ben, you mentioned earlier that workforce development is a top priority over at Vigor. You have a unique, very, very unique partnership with Seattle colleges to manage a welding program. Talk a little about that program and why it was created.
Yeah, to me, this is the future of our industry, right? And I think it's no secret to anybody who's been involved in the sector that we need more people to get into the trades. And there's been a sort of a multi-generational challenge of moving people in a different direction, and we're trying to bring that back. And so we actually modeled the program with South Seattle College on one we'd already built in Portland, which is with Portland Community College. And in both places, we actually host a welding school on site within our fence line. And the local college deals with the certification and the training of the welders who come in and go through the program. Sometimes a dozen, sometimes up to 30. I actually just spoke to the instructor here in Seattle on Friday. He expects to graduate a little over 20 by the end of the summer, and he'll have a bigger class that starts in the summer. I personally think what's most exciting about that is those folks don't have to come work at Vigor. Our goal is to just train the next generation of tradespeople. And if the whole pot grows, it can be like any other sector where that person can take their skill and they can go work on whatever the thing is that they're passionate about. We don't have to worry about having enough people, and neither do our partners or our colleagues around the sector, right? We just want to make sure that we are continuing to grow the trades economy and building up that next generation of worker.
Boy, I love your passion for the industry. Benton, why are you optimistic about the future of the maritime industry?
Look, I think it's what I just said. If you're in Seattle, you know the value of the maritime sector in this region, right? That's not true of everywhere we go, but it's transportation, it's national defense, it's our economy, it's recreation, you name it, this industry touches it. We're not just going to be part of the solution to things like climate change by solving our own problems. We're going to be the industry that builds some of the solutions that to the challenges that we're facing in the future, right? And so we have such a large reach. And on top of that, in areas here, particularly in the Pacific Northwest, where we talk about income stratification all the time, we support the middle of the economy, the critical jobs that keep economies humming, that last throughout challenges. While the rest of the economy might be really bumpy, our people are coming to work every day. That was the case throughout COVID. We were here in person, supporting our customers, supporting our industrial sector. And to me, the continued growth of that and the continued opportunities that arise from that are why our industry has such a bright future, but also why our industry is going to be critical in the broader economy of our region.